Hi, I'm Betsy Hamilton, local real estate agent, and I'm here today with Matt Haas of Haas Law Corporation. We're going to be talking about some really important things today, like setting up an estate and why it's important. So here is Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Betsy. Thank you for the introduction. Again, my name is Matt Haas. I'm a local estate planning attorney, and today we're here to talk about the creation of a trust and the avoidance of probate for your beneficiaries.
So Matt, what does happen to your real estate when you die without a trust?
That's a great question, Betsy. So in California, if you die, and even if you have a last will and testament, your real property would be subject to a probate with the local California probate court. And the probate process is at least an 8-month-long process, can oftentimes take up to several years. And the real downside is that the probate costs are mandated by statute, so it could potentially cost your beneficiaries tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees and upfront costs in order to probate an estate.
So basically, it's more expensive, and it potentially can take 8 months to a year.
That's correct. So what California has done is to create something called a living trust. And what a living trust is great for is that when you pass away, any assets vested in the trust are not subject to the probate process and can be a simplified process in order to transfer assets, including real property, to your beneficiaries without a bunch of upfront costs and fees.
If someone passes away without a trust, it will go to probate. So how do you avoid probate?
That's a great question, and one we get all the time in our office. The benefits of working with an estate planning attorney and creation of a trust is that you avoid the probate process and the court-supervised process of probating an estate. We can simply transfer the assets to the beneficiaries at a minimal cost to them and their time as well.
So Matt, how does someone go about starting a trust?
That's a great question. In order to start a trust, we need to find out what assets need to be titled in a trust, whether it's real property or a financial account. So working with an estate planning practitioner, we take a look at all your assets, how they're titled, and see what we need to change there. Then we also ask other questions such as, who would you like to be your successor trustee? And who would you like to be the beneficiaries of your trust in your estate plan?
Typically, is this just a one meeting, a sit-down meeting with you? And
generally, we have a questionnaire that clients can fill out ahead of time or during the meeting. And then we have a meeting to discuss how they would like their assets transferred when they pass, who gets their assets, who they would like help with managing their affairs if something goes wrong. So in this initial meeting, we get enough information to generate some drafts of documents for the clients. From there, we mail out the drafts to them. They have an opportunity to review, and in our letter, we point out key sections of the drafts to review, and then we're happy to have a follow-up meeting or phone call to discuss any questions they may have or concerns, or if they've thought about it and they want any proposed changes. This is a slow-moving process to really allow for someone to make sure it's what they want and how they want their assets to transfer. Finally, when everything looks good, we'll set up a time for them to come in and execute the documents.
Okay, great. So why would we not just use LegalZoom for something like this?
Well, the differences between going to a local estate planning practitioner and LegalZoom are vast. With LegalZoom, you might not get a estate plan that's tailored to your particular situation. With an estate planning attorney, you really have the time to talk with them about what they've seen in their experience and what we feel is best for your situation, in conjunction with your own opinion and thoughts on it. Finally, the benefit of using a local estate planning attorney is that we're here for you in the long term. We've lived in Nevada County for a long time. I grew up here. If things change in your family or a situation dictates it, you can just call us or contact us, and we're happy to help and talk you through any question or concern that may come up.
That makes sense because people's living situations, their different financial situations change over time, and you would have to update that.
Yeah, and I would stress that a living trust and your estate plan, those are fluid documents, and they can change over the course of your life and whatever your demands are. Whether it's you create it when you have minor children and we need to put in some guardianship provisions, or you're getting older and maybe we need to help appoint a co-trustee to help manage your affairs.
Yeah, I would never even think about going to LegalZoom with the amount of information that is needed for a trust.
Yeah, it would be the same as going to Amazon to pick up a trust. You know? Sometimes you just need to go walk it through with a local person to find out what's going on, what they know about the local market. We constantly read up on new information that comes out regarding trust administration. So we're here for you for whenever you need it and whatever your family situation is.
Makes sense. It's kind of like trying to sell for sale by owner as opposed to with a real estate.
Yeah, it's kind of, I always tell clients that, you know, I can work on my own car engine, but I'm not a mechanic. So, you know, it may work the engine, but, you know, I may just make it blow up too. So I'd rather just go to a professional to take care of it.
Always best to go to the professional. So what family situations can benefit from assets from the trust?
Well, there are many situations where assets held in trust can be very beneficial to a family. For example, if you have a child or beneficiary with learning disabilities or mental disabilities or is not necessarily good with money or maybe some mental health issues, we can actually draft a trust where those assets are held for their benefit by a successor trustee to be used for the beneficiary's benefit rather than bequest all those assets directly to the beneficiary where that person may or may not use those assets responsibly.
So custom made for every family's situation.
Exactly, and every family is different, but every family does come up with a lot of these same issues where it could be that we need to hold assets away from a particular person for their benefit. Or it could be that your family is great and all the children are doing well, and so if you pass away, we'll just distribute all the assets out according to your wishes. You can talk to an estate planning attorney about that, and they will walk you through that process.
That makes sense. I know when we set up our trust, it just kind of depends on, you know, at what point, if our children are a certain age, they would receive.
Exactly. And what we talk about with clients is that, you know, some children are good with money at age 15. Some children...
Not many.
Not many. If I got money at age 18, I'd probably blow it. Some children are good with money at age 30. Some children age 50. And, you know, there are some cases where the children are just never good with money. And we just need to account for it and talk. And the important thing is talking about it with the client.
So what potential tax benefits could come from setting up a trust?
Well, currently the estate tax threshold is very high. In the United States, you can pass away with $12.92 million in assets as a single person, and your estate is not subject to the estate tax. That amount is doubled if it's a married couple. However, this clause sunsets in 2026, reverting to its previous amount of $6.8 million per person, or double that for a married couple. So, especially if you own real property or you have financial accounts that may appreciate in value, we want to start planning for this now to see what we can do to avoid potential taxes down the road.
Generally speaking, about how much does it cost to set up a trust?
Typically in our area, estate planning attorneys charge between $2,000 and $4,000 to set up an estate plan. And this generally includes a review of your assets to see what you have, to make sure everything's properly titled, determine what you would like done with your estate when you pass. It includes setting up a trust for people, last will and testaments for their personal property possessions, healthcare directives for healthcare power of attorney, and a financial power of attorney. This also generally includes retitling grant deeds to make sure they're properly vested in the trust, and recording fees or any other fees and costs associated with those transfers.
Okay, and that is going to avoid a huge headache in the end if
so setting it up now with those few $1,000s in costs typically saves people tens of thousands of dollars from the probate process later on. Not to mention the length of a probate that beneficiaries, when they're already going through grief when a loved one passes, have to negotiate later on without a trust involved.
It makes a lot of sense to do this now.
It's like a preventative maintenance with a dentist. You go in to get your teeth cleaned so you don't need to get fillings later.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I would say about 70% of my clients have, they close out their real estate without it being in a trust. If they have a trust, can they put their names in the trust afterwards?
Absolutely. You can generally ask title companies or escrow officers during the escrow process if they have a trust, just to retitle the property directly into the trust. And that way you can avoid a trip to the attorney's office to redo the deed. And then it's just easier and it's in the trust. Unless there's going to be a situation where a particular beneficiary is going to take that property, and so then you might want to talk to your estate planning attorney about an amendment to your trust with regard to the the bequest.
Okay, that sounds great. And if you don't have a trust, it's time to invest in your future.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for all this great information today. I really appreciate it, and it's very important information. Matt, tell me how easy it is to get a hold of you and to get this process started.
Well, first, thank you, Betsy. I appreciate being on with you today. This process is very easy to get started. Just call our office and we'll happily talk with you and work with you about your estate planning needs.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.